Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
Let's do this thing.
Let's do this thing.
Do that thing? Do that thing you do. Down into the world.
It's a great movie. I love that movie. You know my love for that movie.
It's just so hard to do. I know you're doing that thing you do every time, just doing that thing. I know it's you doing that thing you do. Welcome to Big O's Comics.
Written by Fountains of Wayne, that song.
Really?
Yeah, they got an Academy Award nomination for it.
It should have gotten an Academy Award. Welcome to Because Comics. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the effervescent, the kaleidoscopic, clandestine, regal, double-dutching, clairvoyant, Lovecraftian, translucent, kinetic, debonair, triumphant, malleable, unspeakable, newfangled, incendiary, inscrutable, Dickensian, incorruptible, thundering, melodious, indescribable, rocketeering, prehistoric, star-spangled, dual-wielding, beckoning, enduring, Mike Christensen.
That's me. I'm those things.
Mike, we're here on an episode that is probably not Because Comics. It's not Because Comics, is it?
It is and it isn't.
It isn't.
So,
oh my god.
Earlier this very week, we had a special 1-year anniversary episode.
Right, we did do that.
Our standard Monday episode. But you're wondering, why are you guys releasing an episode today? Well, it's because we have a little extra content for you guys.
Just a little extra.
So, at the end of every episode, Jay turns to me, well, to you, the listener, and says, "Thanks for listening, and remember," and then we will talk. I'll just say some non sequitur, and we'll ramble. And sometimes that's, we give about 30 seconds, because that's as much as you guys hear on the recording is like 30 seconds and we're out. Sometimes it's more.
Yeah, sometimes
it's a lot
it goes
more.
on for quite a while. Mike and I will just start talking about what has happened to us that day, what has popped into our minds.
Just life, man.
And for a while, these gems, these scholarly recordings of our time have just been left, in the dust for no one to hear the ramblings of Mike and I.
Just sitting on the cutting room floor, but we dusted them off.
Yeah.
And we are bringing them to you as a little thank you so much for listening to the show for the last year.
Yeah, thank you for sticking with us for a whole year.
If you guys thought we went off on tangents in our normal episodes...
and nobody's ever written in or had any comments about that ever, but in case you thought about it, we do feel similarly, and believe it or not, you missed a lot of the tangents.
You're getting the good parts abridged every other week.
So guys, as always, thanks for listening, and remember... Oh, that is a Weird Al
yeah,
thing.
That's a deep cut. That's his third album.
I did not know that at all, and I used to really love Weird Al too.
It's from Dare to be Stupid.
Dare to be Stupid.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's
Why did I know that?
It's Lola.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I met him in a swamp down in Dagobah where it bubbles all the time like a giant carbonated soda. S-O-D-A soda. From Earth.
That's amazing. I think I was just listening to that
before
today.
we started recorded.
Yeah, I mean, not right before, but I was definitely listening to today. Guys, Thrilling Adventure Hour is amazing.
It's a fantastic podcast.
If you're not listening to that podcast, you should be listening to that podcast.
It's a lot of fun, for sure.
It's so great. Philip Fathom, man. Does it get any better?
My parents died at sea.
My parents died at sea. He's a deep sea detective. He's so great.
He's Aquaman and Batman rolled together in one angry package. It's amazing.
I never knew I wanted Aquaman part of Batman, but now I do. I really, really do.
He's the gift that we never wanted, but always needed.
But secretly always he's
the hero we deserved.
The hero we deserved. Oh my
That's
god.
amazing. But yeah, Thrilling Adventure Hour. It's great.
It's really good. My specific secret notes, don't look at them. Don't look at them too long. It's like the Ark of the Covenant. Don't look at it, Mike! Close your eyes!
Melted!
Wow.
That was the end.
That's what happens
Mike.
when your face is made of candle wax.
Well, Star Wars, the popular.
I mean, it is Star Wars 1, and I think it's Marvel's first launching of when they own the property now.
Oh,
because before it was with Dark Horse.
They've owned the property before.
But
Marvel owned the property initially.
But I mean, before...
Trust me, I'm going to talk about the original Marvel comics when that movie comes out. It's going to be bug nuts.
Excellent. But I mean, before Disney owned it and then reacquired it from Dark Horse.
Which is funny because they just did a #1 at Dark Horse. like 2 years ago.
I think well,
it's just so
that's
funny.
how that goes.
I
do feel like they did have a relaunch, because I remember I used to read some of the Star Wars comics, like when it was around like clones, when they were doing like Clone Saga stuff.
Yeah.
Like they were following like a bunch of different Jedi. It was like a guy who was like he kind of looked like a Native American.
Okay.
But I don't know.
I believe
way
you.
off track. All right.
We haven't even started yet.
We didn't start the episode.
Reading these tangents.
This isn't even useful.
Reading these tangents in now.
Here we go, yeah. I got it all out of me.
Yeah, might as well, actually. There's a movie before Sixth Sense. It's a coming-of-age story about a kid in a Catholic school and, like, his life with his grandpa, and Rosie O'Donnell plays a nun.
Wow.
It's called...
It's called The Movie You Never Knew Existed.
It was before he knew what genre he was, because the first one he did was his Garden State.
Right.
Where he was the star, and he wrote and directed it, and it was him going back to India for the first time and, like, visiting his, like, heritage, basically.
Your Shyamalan trilogy, your Shyamalan trivia powers are amazing, Mike.
I haven't seen it, but it's basically his Garden State. The second one, I think it's called Wide Awake or something like that. I don't remember what it's called, but it's got Joseph Cross as the kid at this Catholic school, and his like grandpa is his only family, and it's just them. Like, it's just a very slice of life coming of age story, and Rosie O'Donnell plays a nun.
Like a normal thing.
And then the next movie was The Sixth Sense.
Wow.
And then the next one after that was Unbreakable, obviously. And then Signs, which, again, we've talked about this recently, I think is a good film with problems.
Good film with problems.
The Village,
honestly, I like it. All of it.
The Village is a watchable film with problems, I think is the best way to describe it. Because I enjoy parts of it.
I enjoy parts of it as well.
And then you get Lady in the Water, which... Here's the thing with Lady in the Water is at least you see what he's going for, but then Pan's Labyrinth just does it better. Because the idea is it's a grown-up fairy tale.
But again, that's something you write on a napkin. It's a movie. You gotta love the movie.
I remember liking it at the time, but I was also like in high school and kind of had my head a little bit up my ass. As I don't know if you guys can tell from the podcast, I enjoy my own opinions and the sound of my voice.
We all do.
Of mine? Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
And but I kind of was like, no, he's still good, guys. He's still good. I was a defender. And then my friend saw The Happening before I did, and he was like, no. I was like, no, but you and I, we've been the good ones. We
trusted.
We defended The Village. We defended Signs. Because remember, when Signs came out, people didn't like it. When The Village came out, they said, oh, well, Signs was good, but this is crap. And then when Lady in the Water came out, people said, oh, The Village was okay, but this one's bad. I was like, make up your mind, everyone.
Yeah,
again, these were just high schoolers, so who the hell knows?
Yeah.
And then The Happening was the one where it really fell apart. And then The Last Airbender.
The Last Airbender is
oh god,
The Last Airbender
is
is amazing because I think it's the perfect example on every level how to not make a movie. Everything from cinematography to casting to acting to directing to writing.
Everything you need to know is
everything to not do in a movie. They
took the fast-paced kung fu bending and they made it slow, boring dancing.
I mean,
what else do you need to know about that movie?
I think it's online, but there's a shot in the movie where the Earthbenders, they're in a camp, and they go like, they do like some weird like stamping thing, and they go, and then
they all move one rock.
And
like
one tiny rock, and it goes so slow through the air.
It's all boring, and that's like the sin of an adaptation like that.
Yeah, because the show is so exciting and fun, and the fighting is so kinetic.
In the show, they talk like people. In the movie, they talk like episode 1 characters, and it's broken. I'm so excited about Spectre.
Like, who was that old guy in that house?
That's the guy from Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace.
Wait, what? Really?
That is the guy. First of all, the actor's name is Jesper Christensen, spelled like mine, so I'm 100% like, I know from him. But no.
Like, all us Christensens know each other.
But he's the one who recruits the Chief in Casino Royale and kills the Chief in Casino Royale. He's the one who gets a bullet in the leg at the end of Casino Royale and is in a trunk at the beginning of Quantum of Solace. He's the one who says, like, oh yeah, we have people everywhere. Isn't that right, person? And then M's bodyguard tries to kill her, and then he gets away, at the end of that movie. They're exploring Quantum, because Quantum was a stand-in for Spectre. I don't know if you know this, but
that's true. It really was.
Spectre was legally prohibited from being used.
I didn't know that.
And Ian Fleming co-wrote that book with someone.
Oh, and that other person was like, nah, don't
yeah. It was some. I don't know where the problem was.
So what happened? How was that released?
It took them years. It was years of lawsuits. It was lawsuits for 20 years.
And now Blofeld is in. And
in 2013, they said you can use Spectre and the adjacent characters again because they resolved the Thunderball related legal issues. So now Spectre can be back. But the problem is you had Quantum, which was this holdover. They didn't address Quantum during Skyfall, which is a little frustrating. That it's like, what happened to Quantum? This big thing that they were going to take down. Like, where was Quantum? So, like, they were... Like, I was kind of like, well, what's going to happen? Like, are they ever coming back to that storyline? It seemed like those guys were a big deal. And they are, but it's separate. Yeah. So, like, we don't know how they're involved.
Quantum was absorbed by Spectre.
Maybe they were working for, or they were working at Jace, or they're like, enemies.
Let's be honest, like, Spectre is going to be the big bad.
Spectre's the big bad, 100%. But, like, did they take apart, like, once they found out, like, once they were like, oh, shoot, like, we can't be Quantum anymore, let's be Spectre now, or is it older? Is it like that? Because they did that in Chuck. The show Chuck, they were chasing this.
It's gonna.
You know what? I can't remember the name of the group, so it doesn't matter.
It's gonna be like Court of Owls. It's gonna be like Spectre was the OG, the original.
I think so.
And then Quantum they're gonna be like Quantum were like these like kids playing in a sandbox,
or they were the face of it or something. Like, right. Or they were the
a misdirection.
They were the arm because the logo of Spectre is an octopus.
It's an octopus with multiple arms.
All you need to say is they were one arm.
They're one arm of
Spectre. They're one arm of Spectre.
Oh, I can't wait to see Christoph Waltz speed Blofeld. Oh,
or totally not Blofeld.
He's totally
Look, guys,
Blofeld.
Don't pull Into Darkness on us and tell us that you're not...
We knew he was Khan. Stop mistreating your audience.
And they didn't care who Khan was. The characters didn't care.
Yeah, none of them knew.
It's not like, at least here, like, you would be like, oh no, it's Blofeld, this ancient terrorist we haven't heard of in years, or the Mandarin, whatever. Like, right. You can pull that stuff and it's fine. But, like they don't care who Khan was. Yeah. I'm sorry, we're getting on a... Star Trek Into Darkness is not a good film. But
it's not.
It's an unrelated point. The point is... that, like...
They suck humans and missiles.
The point is... by the way, those humans from the timeline would have been born, like... Those advanced humans would have been born in, like, 98.
Yeah.
So, like what?
We made super soldiers way back in the day, everybody.
Didn't you hear? Didn't you read the papers? Yeah.
I did read about that. That was in Bengala.
But, man... yeah, I'm glad that, like... Spectre is like Quantum isn't just forgotten.
I didn't know that it was I didn't know what Spectre was when they announced it, and everybody was like Spectre, Spectre, and like the thing ends with like Spectre, and I was like,
with the glass that breaks in the symbol of the octopus,
and I was just like, I can tell by how they've marketed this that I should absolutely know what this is, and I don't.
Well, you know who the cast is, right? Other than Christoph Waltz.
No.
So Monica Bellucci...
Do I need to know anyone else? Well, I know Monica Bellucci.
Monica Bellucci's one of the Bond girls. Andrew Scott, who played Moriarty in Sherlock.
Oh, awesome.
Is in it. I think he's one... I think he works for MI6.
I love that character.
Dave Bautista...
Yes!
...is playing a character...
I think I saw that. He had like a goatee and everything.
A character named Mr. Hinks, which is just the best henchman name.
Totally. That's a wink to... What's his face? The guy with the bowler cat.
Oddjob? Yeah, but it's more of a wink to characters like Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
That's what I meant. That's what you just said is what I meant.
I'm listening to a lot of the James Bonding podcast on Nerdist.
There's a James Bonding podcast?
Matt Myra and Matt Gorley.
How can you make that many episodes about James Bond?
Well, first of all, they are not frequent. Okay. They don't get together very often anymore, but what they do is they watch an episode, they watch a movie with a guest, or a couple of guests. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing is interesting, because they did Dr. No, and then they did Skyfall. And then they did From Russia With Love, and then they did Quantum of Solace. And then they did... So they were basically meeting in the middle. Now, they haven't released an episode since December.
I really want to revisit Quantum of Solace, because everybody hates it. Look, and I thought it was okay.
Quantum of Solace is okay. Quantum of Solace only works if you go right into it from Casino Royale. It is a part 2 in a huge way. Right. It doesn't work on its own. Like, it just kind of doesn't. But if you watch one right into the other, they take place an hour apart.
Interesting.
They are really, like, direct sequels into each other.
You know, let's take another hour and talk a little bit more about SNL's Cowbell episodes.
Saturday Night Live.
Pretty good stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I'm actually not...
You have qualms?
I do. I think it really was.
You have palm qualms?
I think there have been times when it's been really good, and for the most part, I wasn't alive or watching during those times.
Right, that's true.
I think it was... the Will Ferrell, for sure, was really, really terrific, and kind of his early era was great. Mm-hmm. The original, I think, with Chevy Chase, and even the following year when Bill Murray came on board, I think that stuff's great, and I think...
Norm Macdonald's awesome.
Yeah, but I think there was just... It's been on for way too long, and I think it should have been
And comedy has evolved over the years, and changed, and kind of what people are looking for and kind of drawn towards these days is just different.
The digital shorts were what that show needed.
The digital Schwartz, like Spaceballs.
No, the digital, the short, the Andy Samberg things were exactly what that show needed, exactly when they needed it, but it wasn't what the show became. And you still had segments that were like, here's Jack Black, like sitting in a restaurant, and every time the door opens, the wind picks everything up and it carries, and it's like 5 minutes of that.
Exactly.
It's not a sketch.
It's all about taking one joke and nailing it into the ground every single
because they built the set, and they have to justify the fact that they built a set for it, and they have other people getting into costumes backstage, and they need to
Isn't it funny that Justin Timberlake is in a carrot costume?
I mean, like, there have been gems, and there have been some people who are really, really good, and I just think that's why Robot Chicken, and again, I think that show got bad, or not as funny, but I think that show, like, had a better sense of, like, what our actual attention span is now. I mean,
it's like the show is made to only be, like, 8-second clips because it's that short? It's like Vines before Vines were popular.
Yeah, and they're actually, the episodes of Robot Chicken are 11 minutes. Saturday Night Live is it's an hour and a half.
Eesh.
It's just, you can't fill the time.
You can't sustain that time.
It doesn't work.
And the reason why the digital shorts were the biggest thing to come out of them is because they are short and they are more in tune with the comedy of today.
Exactly. They really are. That's why that lasted, and that's why it's, I don't know, lasted. I mean, we'll see. Right. But, I mean, it may be a flash in the pan, but at the very least, like, this digital shorts and sketch comedy on the internet in that form and music videos and stuff, we know that works. It continually works. Weird Al is that.
Oh, yeah.
He's pre-Lonely Island. It's cleaner, but Lonely Island's very filthy, but the point stands. It's like Jizz in My Pants works because it's the joke and it's the song, and
because it's so over the top.
Yeah, exactly. It plays, and you can do it in a music video, and then you're kind of gone.
Yeah.
And you can move on to other things.
That is crazy.
He plays himself. He's Bill Murray.
You know what's super funny is I could see, like, that casting situation happening. Like, he's walking into the agent's office as Michael Jordan's walking out. It's like, Michael, what are you doing here? It's like, I just got cast in this new Space Jam movie. It's like, you want to be in it? It's like, yeah, let's do this.
I think that conversation goes, I just made a deal to be in a movie with the Looney Tunes.
Right.
And then he leaves, and Bill Murray turns to his agent and says, I want that.
I want to be in that thing.
Well, we already gave it to him. Just put me in it, man.
I don't care if I have 5 lines.
Put me in, coach. Hey, that's a good idea. It should be about basketball.
Jump in the air, high five with agent, and we're all the better for it.
But yeah, he's himself. Wayne Knight does not play himself. Wayne Knight is like his manager or something, something. His assistant.
I think so.
He's either his assistant or his agent. I don't remember. I think he's like his manager, maybe?
I think he might be the manager.
I don't remember. He digs a hole into Toontown through...
I'm pretty sure he's the manager. He's like, I'm coming there, Michael.
Manager,
Yeah, he's got to be like a sports manager or something like that.
I think you're right. Larry Bird is in that movie. There's a lot of people in that movie.
Yeah. But that's pretty amazing. Bill Murray plays himself because, of course he does.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Good stuff.
That movie, though.
I love Space Jam.
It's so weird, though.
It's super weird. Oh, my God. It's unbelievably weird. It's just the silliest concept of all time.
And then it's
silly enough to put Michael Jordan playing basketball with Looney Tunes, but
they didn't stop there.
But let alone just be like, oh no, it's going to be a basketball competition with space aliens to keep the Looney Tunes from being slaves in space. By the way, Michael Jordan is your coach and he's in this movie.
Yeah.
And Looney Tunes are real things.
And there's a sexy lady bunny.
Yeah. That's a thing.
That's a weird...
These are all things in this movie.
Oh, man.
And Bill Murray. And Bill Murray at the very end of all of that, Bill Murray plays himself.
Oh, and there's a scene, because the basketball players get their powers stolen, and there's a scene where they go to all these doctors and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Charles Barkley, it's wonderful.
And
I remember that.
There's a scene where they ask Charles Barkley, basically, they say, have you had any troubles performing in any other aspects?
Yeah.
And he gets really offended. And I saw that clip again as a grown person, and I was like... Oh, I see what's happening. Impotence jokes.
Yeah, it is fun to revisit those movies and be like, there were these jokes in this film? I don't remember this. Oh, right, because I was 12.
Yeah. Oh, man. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Speaking of animation things hybrid, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is not a kid's movie.
It is a very dirty film.
It never was a kid's film.
No.
It's a noir. It's like PG-13 or whatever. It's very mature. It's not just because it's like dirty, but it's like a murdering movie. Yeah. And it's probably boring.
There's also
for
really
a lot of it.
dark stuff too. I mean, it is a cartoon, but there is something dark about watching a happy-go-lucky cartoon creature get murdered in a vat of death juice in front of you. A cute little shoe just like die in front of you.
The whole first act hinges on you understanding what sex is and how extramarital affairs work, because the joke is patty cake. The joke is that it's actually patty cake. It's not a nickname for it.
Exactly.
And that joke only flies if you get that, sex exists.
Exactly.
And it's
taking the pictures in the window of like,
that's the only way you get it. Like, because I did not get those jokes as a kid. And then I didn't see it for 10 years. And I went back and
I feel like as a kid I was like, I get that patty cake is something bad. Like, I know I recognize there was something wrong with that scene, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't wholeheartedly there.
Well, because then Roger freaks out. And he sees it, he's like, patty cake, ah! And you're like, why is
he freaking out about patty cake?
Have
I been doing patty cake wrong for years?
Was it illegal in the 30s? Was that not a thing people did?
Now, Martha, as long as we don't both touch hands at the same time, we don't have to go to the
and now you watch it and you realize, Jessica Rabbit is doing orgasmic, patty cake. And you're like, patty cake.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
It's a solid film, but yeah, man, this is not a kid's film. It's amazing how those animated films and just having cartoons in general can somehow do this weird, like, hypnotizing blur the lines for, like, kids' films. It's like, as long as you put a colorful rabbit in front of a kid, you can just whiz by all the other sexual innuendos.
It's also funny how much of a commentary it is on Los Angeles, because it's very inside baseball, because it's all about, like, he hops on the tram, or the trolley rather, and he's like, what are you kidding? Like, take a car? It's Los Angeles. No one drives.
That's true.
Because what happened was that these people made bad investments in automobiles, and we're like, oh crap, that didn't pay off. We need to just completely dismantle the public transportation system in Los Angeles so people will actually drive.
Yep.
And that's why we have cars and terrible traffic here.
Yeah.
And it's miserable. And also, like, that's the whole premise of the movie is the land deal, which is so noir.
Yeah.
It's as noir as it comes to be like, it's all about a land deal. And again,
that's Chinatown, isn't it? I mean, that's basically what Chinatown is.
So many of them are about, like, who owns the property and who has the deed and all that stuff.
And that is straight up California, Los Angeles shenanigans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a delightful film that never should have been shown to us at the age we received it.
But I'm so happy I saw it. I still feel when I was a kid, when I was like 5, the witch showing up in Wizard of Oz was the number one scariest thing to me ever.
Okay.
And then definitely the second thing, as I grew up a little bit more and saw more stuff, definitely for me that stuck for a very long time was the scene when he turns into a cartoon character at the end,
Judge
where it's
Doom.
like, and I had a voice like this.
Yeah,
and like
eyes
come, the red eyes pop out of his regular eyes drop on the floor.
Yep.
I remember watching that and having to leave the room and being very upset.
Yeah.
And like my parents were like, aren't you watching the cartoon rabbit movie? It's like, the eyes popped out of his head. Which, Mom and Dad, this is not right.
And then he gets flattened and melted.
Right. How he dies is like a slow death via being crushed. Like, my God, I watched that movie as a child.
And then he picks himself up and then he melts. Like, he
does melt at the end.
He gets steamrolled first.
But the first time he gets killed is as a person.
Yeah, that's right.
We're still seeing him as a person before he becomes a full cartoon.
That's right. He's not a toon until
No, he's not a toon yet.
Steamrolled.
It's not a cartoon getting crushed. He gets his... Oh, I remember this because it is permanently burned into my brain.
He gets glued to the ground.
He gets glued, his foot gets stuck on, like, the thing. He tries to pull it off, and then he goes, like he painfully dies and is crushed by a roller.
Oh, you're right.
And then comes out as a toon.
Yeah.
It is terrifying.
They did in... Incredible Hercules, when they did the Secret Invasion crossover with the Skrulls, and they went to go fight the Skrull gods.
The guy only spoke in haikus?
They went to go fight the Skrull gods. It was called Sacred Invasion.
Okay.
And they teamed up with a bunch of gods. So they teamed up with...
Wait, the Skrull have gods?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
they
know
have 2
that.
gods. Well, they do now. For the purposes... Well, actually, it was a very religious war. That was actually one of the big things that was happening in Secret Invasion. They kept saying,
was it like Kree
and
Kree Skrull?
What?
No, because the Kree are like super religious, aren't they?
The Kree are religious, but the Skrulls... These versions, the zealots that were coming in Secret Invasion, were basically these religious zealots, and they kept saying, he loves you, before they would kill people. It was very Battlestar Galactica.